After nursing my dad through surgery and missing a crucial job interview, I came home to find my brother sitting in my living room holding my resume. He smirked and said, "Maybe you're just not meant for big things." My father laughed weakly and said, "He's got a point." I moved out that night and didn't speak to them for a year until they were desperate to move in with me when the bank took their house. I'm from Ohio, Cincinnati area. I was 28 when everything happened. I was job hunting and staying with my dad. Not because I wanted to, but because he needed someone. He'd had a small stroke the year before, and after Mom died, there was no one else. My brother, Nick, is 4 years older than me. We're not close. Never really were. He was always Dad's favorite. Loud, charming, athletic. He could do no wrong in their eyes. I was the one who followed rules, paid my bills, showed up when it mattered. When Dad's heart got bad, it was me who drove him to appointments. Me who sat with him in the waiting room for hours. Me who cleaned up after him when he could barely walk to the bathroom. He never said thank you. Not once. Not even a nod. Then I got the call. There was a company I'd applied to months earlier, a big name. The kind of place that changes your whole life if you get in. They wanted to interview me. In person. Tuesday at 2 p.m. I was stunned. Nervous. Excited. I circled the date on my calendar and read. This was it. But there was a problem. Dad's surgery was Monday. He'd be discharged Tuesday morning, and he couldn't be left alone. Not even for an hour. So I called Nick. He still lived in the area back then, said he was between gigs. I told him what was going on. I asked if he could cover for just that one day. "I'll try," he said. "Can't promise." I should have known right then. But I held on to hope. Tuesday came. Dad was discharged. I waited. And waited. Kept checking my phone. Nothing from Nick. It was 1:15 p.m. when I finally accepted it. I wasn't going anywhere. I watched the clock hit 2 p.m. from a recliner while Dad napped in the next room. He never asked how my interview went. A month later, I was still living there. No job, no savings. Just doing temp gigs and running errands for a man who acted like I owed him something. One day, I came home from Walgreens. I had picked up his meds, some groceries. I opened the door, and there he was, Nick, sitting on the couch like he lived there. Holding something in his hand. It was my resume. Not a copy. My resume. The one I kept in the desk drawer with a tiny fold on the bottom left corner. I froze in the doorway. He looked up, grinned, and said, "Maybe you're just not meant for big things." My mouth went dry. I couldn't even speak. And then my dad, from the recliner, gave this weak little laugh and muttered, "He's got a point." That was the moment something inside me broke. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I walked into my room, shut the door, and started packing. 2 duffel bags. A box of papers. I didn't even say goodbye. I walked out and never looked back. I found a small studio across the river in Covington. It was nothing special, bare walls, creaky floors, but it was mine. I took whatever work I could. Warehouse jobs. Office filing. Freelance. Anything. I didn't talk to either of them for a year. No calls. No texts. Nothing. Then, right before Christmas, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail. It was Nick. His voice sounded different. Shaky. "Hey, look, I know it's been a while. We really need to talk. It's urgent. Can you call me back?" I deleted the voicemail. A few days later, someone knocked at my door. I looked through the peephole. It was them. Nick and my dad. Both of them. They looked like hell. Nick was thinner, pale. Dad looked older than I remembered. His jacket was 3 sizes too big, and he had a cane now. I opened the door but didn't invite them in. Nick did all the talking. Said they lost the house. Turns out Dad took out a second mortgage a year ago, probably to pay for some dumb project or medical debt. Nick said he tried to keep up with payments, but it got out of hand. The bank foreclosed last month. They'd been staying in motels, sleeping in the car. We don't have anywhere else to go, Nick said. We were hoping, maybe you could let us crash here for a bit. Just until we figure something out. I stared at him. Then I looked at Dad. He didn't even meet my eyes. You laughed at me, I said. Nick looked confused. What? I turned to my dad. You laughed when I lost the biggest opportunity of my life. And now you're at my door? Dad opened his mouth like he was about to say something, but nothing came out. I stepped outside and pulled the door shut behind me. You're not coming in, I said. Not tonight. Not ever. Nick looked like he'd been punched. We're family, he said quietly. No, I said. Family doesn't leave you hanging when you need them. Family doesn't steal your future and then spit in your face. You made your choices. They left. No screaming. No begging. Just slow steps back to the car. But it didn't end there. They weren't done with me yet. After that night, I thought it was over. I told a few close friends what happened. They backed me up. Said I did the right thing. That I didn't owe those men a damn thing. And I believed it until 2 weeks later, when I got a letter. It was from a local lawyer. A real, official letter with my name and address typed at the top. My stomach dropped as I read it. Nick and Dad were trying to claim I owed them money. The letter said they were pursuing reimbursement for the time I lived in Dad's house, saying I was an adult freeloading off him for months and taking advantage while not paying rent. It was a joke. I bought groceries. I paid his damn co-pays. I drove him to every appointment. I missed a once-in-a-lifetime job interview for him. I called the lawyer listed on the letter. A soft-voiced woman answered. I'm not sure what your clients told you, I said, but I was his caretaker. He had heart surgery. He couldn't walk without help. There was a pause. I understand, she said. You should know, your brother is the one pushing this, not your father. I hung up. Now I was really mad. I wasn't scared of the case. I had receipts. I had texts from doctors. I had a paper trail proving I was doing unpaid home care while also covering expenses. But what cut deep was Nick. After everything, he had the nerve to come after me legally. Like I hadn't already lost enough because of him. I didn't just defend myself, I went on offense. I hired a lawyer. A good one. I gave her everything. Emails. Texts. A statement from a neighbor who saw me lifting Dad in and out of the car multiple times a week. Bank statements showing I paid for most of the groceries and utilities during those months. We didn't just fight the claim. We filed a countersuit for elder neglect and fraudulent misrepresentation. Because while I was busy bathing Dad and managing his meds, Nick was using Dad's credit card to order golf clubs and DoorDash from across town. And here's the twist. During discovery, my lawyer found something else. Turns out, when I missed my interview because Nick couldn't make it, he didn't just skip out. He went to the company with a fake resume. Mine. With his name on it. He used my experience, my writing, my formatting. The reason the company never called me again? Because they thought I was him. And he had bombed the interview. That was it. That broke me in a whole new way. I had always assumed he just didn't care. That he stood me up, laughed in my face, and went home. But no, he stole my future. He took my resume, changed the name, and tried to take the job for himself. And failed. When my lawyer brought it up in a deposition, Nick looked stunned. He denied it at first. Then said he was trying to help by representing the family. Said he didn't think I'd actually make it anyway. That part almost made me laugh. Not because it was funny. Because it was insane. The case is still in process. It'll probably settle, maybe go to court. I don't care. I'll see it through. But I'll tell you this much. They thought I'd be weak forever. They thought I'd clean up their mess, smile through the betrayal, and stay small. But now? They're about to learn what I'm really made of. After the deposition, things got real quiet. For about a month, I didn't hear from anyone. No letters. No calls. My lawyer said they were probably regrouping, trying to figure out how to settle before it went to court. She said we had a strong case. Stronger than I thought. Especially with the resume theft and elder neglect stuff we uncovered. Then, just when I thought I'd seen the worst of it, I got a call from an old coworker from my logistics job, Doug. We hadn't talked in over a year. Hey, he said, weird question. Did you ever work for Summit Freight again? I told him no. He hesitated. That's odd. Someone applied under your name a few months ago. Said you moved to Florida and wanted to work remotely. They used your old employee ID on the application. I felt cold. Can you send me that application? I asked. 2 hours later, I was staring at it in my inbox. My full name. My old employee ID. A fake Florida address. My exact job title and responsibilities. But I didn't fill that out. I never even saw it. And the worst part? The attached resume, it was the same version Nick had stolen, just slightly edited. Updated with jobs I never worked. A fake reference number that traced back to a burner phone. So now I knew. Nick hadn't just stolen my resume once. He had been trying to live as me on paper multiple times. I forwarded the whole thing to my lawyer. She got real quiet after reading it. This is identity theft, she said. Criminal. That changed everything. She contacted the company on my behalf, and we filed a police report. A detective even called me in for a statement. But this isn't the twist. Here's what really blew the top off everything. The detective called me a week later and said, "You mentioned your brother applied for jobs under your name. Has anyone else in your family done anything similar?" "What do you mean?" I asked. "Did your father ever have power of attorney over you? Medical or financial?" "No," I said. "Never." He paused again. "That's odd. Because your name showed up on a joint credit card opened in late 2023, with your father. It's been maxed out. Over $6,000. Late payments. Opened online with a shared Ohio address, your old one." I almost dropped the phone. They hadn't just screwed me out of a job. They'd tried to financially chain me to them after I left. Dad used my name on a credit card he opened after I moved out. Probably while I was still forwarding mail from the old house. They were counting on me not noticing. Counting on me to be too quiet, too tired, too kind to fight back. They thought they'd broken me. They didn't realize they built something else. I wasn't just angry now. I was ready. And I had one more card to play. After I found out about the credit card, something in me snapped for good. I wasn't just dealing with petty insults anymore. This was fraud. Theft. They were trying to ruin my name. My credit. My future. All while sleeping in cheap motels or someone's couch, pretending they were still in control of anything. My lawyer moved fast. We added identity theft and credit fraud to the civil case. And I filed a full police report, signed every page in person. The detective gave me a look I won't forget, part respect, part disbelief. "You sure you want to go all the way with this?" he asked. I looked him straight in the eye. "They tried to bury me. I'm not giving them a shovel." The case took another 2 months to make its way through the court system. During that time, my lawyer found one last surprise. A hidden savings account in my dad's name, opened 3 years ago. It wasn't much, but it had just under $9,000 in it. Guess who had access to it? Nick. Guess who drained it a week before the foreclosure? Same guy. They weren't broke because of bad luck. They were broke because Nick bled Dad dry, and Dad let him. Then they came to me hoping I'd be their new piggy bank. I didn't cry anymore when I thought about what I lost. I just got cold. Sharp. Focused. By the time we went to court, my lawyer had built the kind of case that makes judges lean back in their chair and raise an eyebrow. The judge didn't even need a full week. Nick was found guilty of identity theft, credit fraud, and perjury. He was sentenced to 18 months in county lockup and fined $12,000. He'll probably get out in 10 months, but his record's ruined. No more fake resumes. No more bouncing around jobs pretending to be someone he's not. My dad didn't walk away either. The court ruled he was complicit in the credit fraud since it was opened using his ID and my name, and he had the legal right to stop it but didn't. They hit him with a civil judgment. He owed me $8,200 plus legal fees. He was also flagged by credit bureaus and can't open any financial accounts without court oversight now. I didn't expect to feel good about it. But I did. Until the night I sat alone in my apartment, sipping tea and looking out the window. That's when the weight hit me. I had no family left. Nick rotting in county jail. Dad alone in a senior living facility that he can barely afford. And me working full-time, still rebuilding, still grinding. I wasn't proud of the person I'd become. Cold. Bitter. Distrustful. But I didn't regret it either. I made mistakes too. I stayed too long. I gave too much. I believed in people who never deserved it. I didn't speak up when they took advantage the first time. Or the second. Or the third. But when I finally fought back, I didn't stop. And now they'll never forget it. Because when they laughed at me and said I wasn't meant for big things, they were right. I was meant for bigger. And I'm just getting started.